Good morning, students. Today's topic is calculi. So, calculi means it is nothing but stones. Okay, so we will be seeing at renal stones and gallstones. What are they? How are they formed? And what are the biochemical analysis we will be doing to find out the content of the stones? So that we will be seeing in this calculi topic. So, first we'll be seeing the definition, then theories of stone formation, different types of stones, what is the pathogenesis, clinical signs and symptoms, and what is the biochemical evaluation we do for renal and gallbladder stones. Okay. So, first coming to stones. What do you mean by calculi? As I told you, they are stones. Calculi means stones. They are hard crystalline mineral material. Usually, these stones are they contain minerals. Okay, so they are the crystalline mineral material, and um, the stones which is present in urinary tract, so that is most commonly studied, and gallstones, intestinal concretion, salivary and pancreatic calculi also are studied, but most commonly the renal stones or the stones which are present in the urinary tract, they are studied. So first, theories of stone formation. How are they formed? Okay, the first pathway is overgrowth on interstitial apatite plaques. So when there is overgrowth, the calculi will be formed. And second pathway is if they get deposited in the renal tubules. When it is not excreted properly, they get deposited here and there. So that is one second pathway of this stone formation. Third is free solution crystallization. So when they get crystallized, there are chances of stone formation. See, first one is overgrowth. Second is if they get deposited in the renal tubule, deposition. Third is crystallization. And sometimes the supersaturation occurs when either too much of cholesterol or when they are not getting solubilized, okay, with not enough bile salts and all, they get secreted, okay, and that will lead to micellar solubilization of cholesterol. When cholesterol gets solubilized also, there are chances of forming stones or calculi. So first we will see about renal stones. Okay, so renal, they are the hard crystalline mineral material that is formed within the kidney or urinary tract. Okay, so that the where it is formed, so that we give the name. If it is formed in kidneys, we call it as renal stones or renal calculi. If it is formed in gallbladder, we call it as gall stones or gallbladder calculi. Then the condition where the formation of kidney stones are there, the presence of kidney stones, we call it as nephrolithiasis. Okay, and having stones in any location in the urinary tract is called as urolithiasis. If it is in the kidney, nephrolithiasis. If it is other than kidney, if anywhere in the urinary tract, we call it as urolithiasis. And they are normally if they are formed also, they are normally excreted, but in some cases when they get deposited, they will lead to renal stones, and these will have some protein material including blood proteins, and some foreign bodies also it might have these stones. And majority of stones are calcium oxalate stones, followed by calcium phosphate stones. Okay, and more rarely struvite stones are there. They are produced by urea splitting bacterium in patients with urinary tract infections. Okay, and people with certain metabolic abnormalities may also produce uric acid stones or cystine stones. See, renal stones, how many types I've told you now? One is calcium oxalate. These are the most common form of stones that is there. Next is calcium phosphate, then struvite stones, then there are uric acid stones or cystine stones. So these are the stones. So first we will see about calcium oxalate stone. Usually mixed with phosphate they occur, and they are the hardest and they are not crushed easily, difficult to crush, and often rough and blood-stained. They form in the renal pelvis with oxalate as main constituent. Okay, and this is passed spontaneously. Then phosphate stone, they contain calcium phosphate or triple phosphate. Um, this calcium phosphate also is occurred in along with, or it can be mixed with calcium oxalate. Most common finding in hypercalciuria. When the calcium level is very high, that might lead to hypercalcemia, will lead to hypercalciuria. When high amount of calcium is getting excreted, that will lead to stones. Larger stones in the of renal pelvis, okay, they are seen as soft and white color, and cut surfaces shows striations and nucleus of different structures. Then uric acid stones, they are exist in the shades of brown. They are also usually hard, okay, and varying texture it will have, often small, but it is not common. Common is calcium oxalate and calcium phosphate stones. Then calcium carbonate stones, this is very rare, but it is found as a constituents of large stones. Okay. Then cystine stones also is very rare. They are small and waxy in appearance, brownish yellow or light green in color. Then xanthine stone, this is also more rarer, yellowish brown color it will have, similar to uric acid crystals. Now coming to pathogenesis. See how they are formed. What is the reason for this stones to be formed? First is dehydration from reduced fluid intake, okay, or strenuous exercise without adequate fluid replacement. This increases the risk of kidney stones. When kidney stone is there, you would have observed people telling, or doctors also advise you to drink lot of fluids. Okay, so why? Because when there is dehydration, the chance of this renal stone is higher. Then when the urine obstruction flow is obstructed, that will lead to stone formation. Then hypercalciuria, so excessive calcium excretion, that is responsible for calcium containing stones. Then hypercalcemia disorders. See, like when there will be hypercalcemia, when there is hyperparathyroidism, malignancy, granulomatous disease, sarcoidosis, thyrotoxicosis, and immunoglobulin. So these are the causes that will lead to hypercalcemia. Hypercalcemia will lead to hypercalciuria. This hypercalciuria will lead to formation of renal stones. Other hypotheses for calciuria are deficiency of defect in the fatty acid content of the cell membrane, increased expression of vitamin D. So these are the other causes for hypercalcemia. Hyperoxaluria. Okay, so this accounts for approximately 5% of calcium stones. Normal oxalate excretion will be 40 milligrams per day, but in urinary oxalate levels, in case of this, it will be more than 80. So enteric oxaluria and primary hyperoxaluria is there. So enteric oxaluria, malabsorptive small bowel disease, that is a cause for this oxaluria. Excretion of oxalates is called as oxaluria. Then primary oxaluria, it is due to the enzyme deficiency, but majority of calcium stones contain oxalate stones, okay, 70 to 80%. Some of the oxalate that is present in urine may be because of the dietary, like tea, coffee, so spinach, citrus fruits, this might also contribute. Okay, and increased absorption in case of Crohn's disease, ileal resection, bypass surgery, intestinal bypass surgery, and in steatorrhea. So all these are the conditions that will lead to hyperoxaluria, that in turn leads to formation of calcium oxalate stones. Then hyperuricemia, urate crystals, I told you. Hyperuricemia is increased uric acid content in the blood. So that is seen in gout, Leishman syndrome. So these are the syndromes where the hyperuricemia is seen. And leukemia's tumor treatment, then after chemo and irradiation therapies, All these are the causes for hyperuricemia that in turn lead to the formation of uric acid stones. Then, if there is renal stone or renal caliculi, what will be the signs and symptoms? So, first there will be colicky pain, that is, loin to grain, the pain will be there, and lower back pain is there. Often, this pain is described as the worst pain ever experienced. Okay, then nausea and vomiting will be there, hematuria will be there, pyuria, that is pus in urine, dysuria, burning sensation while passing urine, oligouria, reduced urine output or excretion, then azotemia, renal azotemia, so blockage in the urine flow through a ureter, then hydronephrosis, distension and dilation. Okay, so these are the conditions, these are the signs and symptoms the patient will present with if he has renal stones. And what are the biochemical analysis? See, diagnosis part, x-ray, scanning, ultrasound, everything is there, but we will see only about biochemistry. So chemical analysis of this renal stones. So first what we will do, we will divide the renal stones into 2-3 parts. So we will take one part of the renal stone and test for oxalate we will be performing. So we will be taking a small amount of the stone powder, add sulfuric acid and heat, and then add freshly prepared potassium permanganate solution drop by drop. So if there is decoloration of this permanganate, okay, that indicates oxalate is present. Then we will take another part and test for calcium we will perform. So to the stone powder, add a drop of acetic acid and add 1 ml of ammonia solution to make it alkaline, and then add 1 ml of 4% ammonium oxalate solution. So if there is appearance of silky white precipitate, that indicates presence of calcium oxalate, indicates presence of calcium. Okay, that is the silky white precipitate will be due to the formation of calcium oxalate precipitate. Third part, test for phosphates will be doing. So again the stone powder, add 1 ml of concentrated nitric acid and 1 ml of ammonium molybdate. Canary yellow color will be appearing. This indicates presence of phosphates. Okay, the color is due to the formation of ammonium phosphomolybdate. Fourth part, test for uric acid. So the stone powder will be taking, add 1 ml of potassium hydroxide 10% diluted and heat. Cool the solution, then add 0.5 ml of 10% sodium carbonate and 0.5 ml of phosphotungstic acid. If there is appearance of blue color, that indicates presence of uric acid in the stone. Okay, so these are the tests we do to see what is the content of the stone, what it contains. Okay, now we will see about gallbladder. Gallbladder, the hard crystalline mineral material formed within the gallbladder, is called as gallbladder stones, and usually they contain cholesterol, bile pigment, calcium phosphate and calcium carbonate, and this will be single or multiple, large or small stones. And cholecystitis we call it as, that is inflammation to the gallbladder. Cholelithiasis we call it as gallbladder stone. Okay, so predisposed to the attack of cholecystitis with the formation of debris and impaired emptying. So these are the causes for formation, and tight packing of stones can be seen with this gallbladder stones. Then these stones containing the pigment containing stones are less frequent and usually multiple and variable grains. So these are the appearance, how they appear. Then how they are formed, what is the reason for this gallbladder stones? So they are formed due to abnormal bile composition, okay, in case of biliary stasis, or when there is inflammation to the gallbladder, or when there is gallstone pancreatitis. Okay, this is very extremely dangerous and painful condition, and when the ducts are blocked due to gallstone, the hepatic duct, cystic duct, or common bile duct. So these are the causes that will lead to formation of this thing. And when the emptying is slow, or the gall stones are not getting properly excreted, that will lead to accumulation. Okay, the cause of pigment stones, till now it is not fully understood. People who have liver disorders like liver cirrhosis, biliary tract infection, okay, sickle cell anemia, or when there is too much of bilirubin, so these are the people who tend to develop this gallstones. Okay, and mere presence of gallstone may cause more gallstone to develop. Symptoms may be gallbladder attacks, often like fatty meals when you take. Okay, and the pain will be usually during the night, and steady pain will be there in the upper abdomen that increases rapidly and lasts for 30 minutes to several hours. Pain in the back between shoulder blades, pain under right shoulder, fever, chills, loss of appetite, jaundice, nausea, vomiting, okay, abdomen tenderness. So all these are the symptoms of gallstones. And when the pain is more than 5 hours, immediate attention is sought. When there is nausea, vomiting, fever, so these are the conditions that seeks immediate attention with respect to gallstones. Chemical analysis. So biochemical analysis of the stone, what all we do. So here also we will be dividing it into two parts. Their renal stone, it was 4 parts. Okay, test for calcium, phosphate, uric acid and all. Here, and oxalates. Here it is 2 parts. So first part, the powdered stone is dissolved in 5 ml of chloroform and it is filtered. After filtering, test for bile pigments is done. So add 2 drops for the Forsyth's reagent on the residues. This you would have done no in the abnormal urine analysis. So bile pigments, Forsyth's test will be doing. So the same test we are doing it here. So presence of blue or green color indicates presence of bilirubin. Forsyth's reagent that oxidates this bilirubin into green or blue color. So that is why we'll be getting that color. Then test for cholesterol. So 2 ml of the filtrate will be taking. Add 0.5 ml of concentrated sulfuric acid. If there is presence of red color with a green fluorescence, that indicates presence of cholesterol. Then add acetic anhydride for the same filtrate. Another 2 ml of filtrate you have to take and add acetic anhydride, so sulfuric acid mixture, that is 10 ml of acetic anhydride plus 0.5 ml of sulfuric acid. When there is appearance of green color, that indicates presence of cholesterol. With the second part, the powder is dissolved with 5 ml of 25% HCl and filtered. And this filtrate is divided into 2 parts. In the first part, we will be performing test for calcium. To the filtrate, you have to add drop of acetic acid and 1 ml of ammonia solution, okay, to make it alkaline. Then add 1 ml of ammonium oxalate, 4% ammonium oxalate. If there is appearance of silky white precipitate, this indicates presence of calcium. Next, test for phosphates in the other second part of filtrate. You will add 1 ml of concentrated nitric acid and 1 ml of ammonium molybdate to the filtrate. If there is appearance of canary yellow, this indicates presence of phosphates. Okay, so this is about renal stones and gallstones, the theories of formation, how they are found, what are the causes, and the symptoms and biochemical tests what we'll be doing. Okay, I hope this is clear. Thank you.